You've just gone through a kid story workshop, or maybe you're a trainer and you've just completed a workshop and people are overwhelmed, or you're overwhelmed. Like, where do I start? I don't know that I can do all of this. And so you want to retreat and not do any of it. Well, I'd like to explore that here today on Kid Story Quick Tips. I've been doing a little reading about from a man named Ron Clark, who's an excellent educator here in the US. And he talks about the 1%, taking one step, doing 1% and making a difference. Well, let's explore that here today on Kid Story Quick Tips. So what is that 1%? What is that one thing that you can do to make a difference in your teaching and in the environment that you're creating for kids to be drawn closer and have an encounter with Jesus? Well, even before it starts, you can have music playing. You can be creating this environment where kids realize this is a fun place to be. You've got lively music going and kids can be excited about coming. So you're even creating the environment. That could even be the 1%, is starting with some music. But how about the opening? What can you do in the opening? What's one thing that you can do in the opening? Well, this also has to do with even before my class even started, but it has to do with the opening as well, is that you come 10 minutes early to class. Make sure everything is ready and set up before the kids are actually coming into your classroom. I did that this last weekend when I was getting ready to teach my kids. I made a distinct effort to arrive at church 10 minutes before I normally do. Now, I arrive early, but sometimes I get rushed to get everything ready, to get the chair set up, to get, the activities going that kids can play with when they first come in. But I thought, you know what? I want to be settled. I want to be prepared and ready. And so I deliberately got to my class even 10 minutes earlier than I normally do. Now that's just 1%. That was one thing. And I was just relaxed and ready. The music was going and kids came in. I could focus in on those kids. So the opening, well, how about the background? What's 1%? What's one thing you can do to make the background even more exciting for kids? Well, one thing, if you have available to you, is maybe you have a picture book. And you can use the pictures in the background. Maybe it's a map. Maybe it's a picture of an ark or Noah building the ark. You're getting ready to tell them the story. And, just use pictures. If you have a cell phone, you can probably find something on your phone and be able to show it to the kids. That's one thing, 1% of what you can do in the background. And then, of course, there's the telling of the story. There's so much you can do in just 1%, just doing one thing. Maybe involve the kids in the telling of the story. If you remember with Jesus and Peter walking on the water, maybe they're doing the sound effects and making the storm. Maybe they're acting it out with you. They're rowing the boat, or they're repeating words after you. Jesus, save me. 1%, one thing that you can do. Doesn't mean you have to do all of these things. But what's one thing that you can do? Then, of course, you have the retell. Maybe the 1% is you let the kids choose. What would you like to do this week for the retell? Now, I was telling you about my class. Now, this last week, the kids were just kind of wild. And so, but I thought, I'm going to ask them what came. I put out a few different things that they could do. And I asked them, what retell do you want to do? And they all said, we want to do musical chairs. And I was like, that's not going to work because you guys are a little too wild today. And so I found one that used the dice and they got to sit on the floor and got to roll the dice. And it was fun and engaging, but I was trying to give them a choice. Now, of course, this week it didn't work for what they wanted to do, but I did choose a game that they could all play and be involved in. Now, maybe it's doing a drama and just getting costumes ready. And, costumes can be simple. It might be something as simple as a pillowcase, and you make it into a headpiece that you could put on the top of your head and become the characters in the story. 1%, one thing you can do. Maybe it's finding things that are colorful, like balloons that they can bounce in the air. Now, if I had some balloons with me in my class, I probably could have done balloons with the kids, but musical chairs, I didn't trust them to do the musical chairs. And how about the asking of the questions? Now, there's all kinds of things that we can do in regards to that. But here's something that could be a 1%. It's having an object that whoever has the object is the one that gets to talk. Now, with this particular object, it actually squeezes. And there's something about it, and honestly, I don't know the scientific reason behind it, but there's something about squeezing an object that you can focus on something different and take the stress off. That's why they call them stress balls. Take the stress off of having to answer the question. But that's 1%. One thing you can do that you can make that answering of the questions a lot easier for the kids by having a ball or an object that can be passed from one kid to another. And whoever has the object, even if it's me as the leader, whoever has the object gets to talk. Don't think you have to do it all. What's one thing that you could do that you can make a difference in your class that would engage the kids further into the story and be an active participant rather than a distant observer? Thanks for joining us here on this week's Kid Story Quick Tips. God bless you.